Hello, everyone. This is Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister, the Disrupt Meister. Welcome to the One Bitcoin Show. Today is, wow, had to clear my throat there, August the 8th of 2024. Strong hand, long-term thinking. All those eights, 888. I remember what I was doing on 888. That's when China had the Olympics. Remember that? Strong hand, long-term theory. Bitcoin is next Bitcoin. Offended by selling? Bitcoin always returns to its all-time high. It's getting there, people. Just be patient now. Perseverance, no emotion. Compete, don't complain. Be a unique beast. Relentless. All right, dudes. Hello, my elite friends. How you guys doing today? Great to see you. Thank you, Izabella Drayven and Deniz. You guys gave some generous donations, so much so that, hey, you got this show, you're going to get a show after this, and then a show after this we only need $75 more for. So you got a lot of shows coming up to you for you people. And yeah, I think 16 Bitcoin make you a millionaire today. I don't even know. Bitcoin price went down, then up. You know, this is normal for the cycle. If you got a true strong hand, nothing of this bothers you because, dude, we are in the golden age. If you're in the Bitcoin overlay like I am, then you're a 20%er. And you're buying over crying. Be proud. All right, my elite friends. So let's jump right into the. Well, we're gonna get into Putin in a second. Oh, Putin! All you guys who worship Putin are going crazy, like you weren't here when China did the same thing. Okay, we're getting to that in a second. Now, I did want to talk about the politics, national politics here in the United States of America, and it's really becoming obvious that one party is just trying to pull on people's emotional heartstrings here. One party is just talking about abortion, and get women all riled up, pretending like Trump is against abortion when he's pretty pro-abortion, and he's just like, let the states decide. And dude, like in most states, if you want to do that I personally would not want to be aborted. I mean, how many of you would want to be aborted? Just a question. But anyway, I think so. I think it's a pretty, there's two sides to the story. I think there's quite a legitimate side to the story of like, I would not have wanted to been aborted. I really enjoy life, but don't worry. We're not here to talk about abortion here. But my God, that's all they talk about, and that's all. I mean, they lie and lie and lie. And on the other hand, we have Trump. He mentions abortion or whatever, but what he's done, and what all the wealthy, productive people who are just taking this election seriously and not trying to get caught up in emotions see. One side is very clear on their economic policy, and that is to get rid of regulation and let innovation thrive. And the reason our country, everyone keeps on saying the United States, not everyone, but the people who love to get clicks on their videos have been saying for years and years that the United States is going down the tubes, blah blah blah. Meanwhile, everybody's trying to move here. Now, part of the reason the United States is not going down the tubes is because we are the hub of technology, of innovation. The whole world comes here for innovation, whether it be cryptocurrency, biotech, and now AI. We're dominating. We have companies that everyone loves to hate called Google, Facebook, Amazon, Microsoft, Twitter on a certain level. Not Twitter, but the ones I just mentioned, I know I'm forgetting another one, that are more powerful. Well, I mean, in one sense, Twitter also is more powerful than most countries on the face of the earth. So we have like 5 companies, at least, United States of America, and a lot of them were based in California originally, that are more powerful than other countries. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally awesome. Some people have a problem with that. They're like, oh, the countries are supreme. The state is supreme. And that brings me to the other party that thinks they need to butt their nose into everything. And the wealth taxes that they've mentioned, and Trump wants cryptocurrency and AI and to run free. And so we've got guys like Andreessen Horowitz, very wealthy venture capital guys that have said, they're usually Democrats, because they're in Silicon Valley, but they're like, no, we're support. I mean, so for me, it's so obvious. It's like, especially if you said you were a one issue voter, if Bitcoin was your only issue, then the choice is so clear here. And what Trump will allow will be great. But if you go to the other side of the spectrum, they're not very clear on what they're going to do. Gensler is all up in Bitcoin's business and cryptocurrency's business. Right now, Biden, is obviously not in control. And it appears, and you watched the video, I linked to the video below with Andreessen and Horowitz. And I believe they mentioned this. I think it was them. Watch the video. It's a good video, just really explaining the logic and reason behind supporting Trump is because they want little tech, they call it, to thrive in the United States. They don't want wealth taxes. They don't want all this regulation. It's completely nonsense coming from people who have no clue. They say the current administration has no clue. Elizabeth Warren has no clue. She has a lot of influence on the current administration. Now, it appears Kamala hasn't mentioned Bitcoin or cryptocurrency at all. So one would assume that she would let the same people influence her that are influencing the current administration, which is Elizabeth Warren, who is the worst for Bitcoin and cryptocurrency and all sorts of things. They love to, and just the general vibe of the Democrat Party is to vilify the wealthy. Now, there are plenty of on the Republican side too, that and J.D. Vance has gotten into this sort of at times. He's a good speaker, though. Out of all four of the people that are either running for president or vice president, he's the best speaker. But this vilification of the elite, and I don't like scapegoating anyone. We're not here to scapegoat anyone, okay? One percenters are great. Elite are great. You're one of the elite. I say hello, my elite friends. I really consider you to be elite if you got into Bitcoin early. There's nothing wrong. Success is great. Production is great. And so I don't like any, Republican Democrat who gets into this class warfare. And on a certain level, they all get into class warfare. But again, on the Democratic side, it's just straight up in your face, just going on emotion, like hate the rich. They're going to take away your abortions. And it works. It does work. I mean, it really, really works. And it just shows you why the founding fathers didn't want everyone to be able to vote. Certain people who own property and everything. And again, some of their limitations were totally outrageous, obviously, but they did not think every single person should vote. I mean, that's just like now. We've grown up. Last 2-3 generations of people, it's like a birthright from God. If you don't have the right to vote, oh my God, you're like, it's just horrible. No, people in Puerto Rico can't vote for president. I mean, it's no big deal. It really isn't the biggest thing in the world. But the destruction that a president could create if they really go against the Constitution, and they all go against the Constitution now, is great. And I don't want wealth taxes. I don't want the Elizabeth Warren take on wealth and technology. She has no clue. I mean, she is just pandering to the angry, envious populist left, and some from the right, in fact. So it's really, there is just such a clear difference here. So I would love for Kamala to say something to explain her view on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, as Trump has, as RFK has. They've clearly done it. Now RFK obviously has said he's much more in with cryptocurrency than Trump is. But at least Trump is not, and again, in certain states, like Maryland, if you're registered to vote in Maryland, you just vote for RFK. There's nothing wrong with that. There's not going to, in Pennsylvania, you're going to really have to think about this here. I mean, there's only a few states that count here, okay? Arizona, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Michigan, Wisconsin. I'm not going to go over all, Nevada. If you're a Bitcoin person, you should vote for Trump in those ones. In all the others, you can vote for RFK. It doesn't matter. In all the non-swing states, you can vote for RFK. It's who cares? It's whatever. Do what you can do. But it is, it'd be a shame if he loses one of the swing states. It's super duper close. I mean, there is going to be a difference here between the administrations. It's just And I just want to get back to the bigger point that goes way beyond cryptocurrencies, that this is what makes the world go by, okay, is technology. And we want to continue to be the leaders in all three of those: biotech, cryptocurrency, and AI, because that's going to be huge in the 2020s and the 2030s, and it's really going to make our lives so much better. So, if you're scared about not being able to get an abortion, there's plenty of charities that can pay for your bus ticket to go, across the state line if you live in Alabama or whatever, or just, it's just amazing. Oh, God, it really sickens me that it's just like, it really could come down to just people who think like Trump isn't going to let me get an abortion. It's ridiculous. While the other side wants to confiscate wealth, literally, and lead mobs of people. Some of them would have no problem. I mean, Elizabeth Warren has specifically targeted Elon Musk in tweets. She names a person to target. It's at a private citizen. It's disgusting. It really is disgusting. So, link to below is the Andreessen Horowitz. Just saying that the Democrats are a very good video, especially the first part. Democrats are clueless on AI, crypto, and the wealth taxes are disgusting. Oh, by the way, my PayPal, adam@tresorhelp.com, if you want to send donations that way, as some people have, or you can do a super chat question right now. I don't see any questions right now. And someone says, I want to get rich. I don't care about abortion. Yeah, I don't blame you, dude. You want to be able to live a very long and healthy life. These technologies that they want to stifle, it's really disgusting. The people, I didn't link to this, and I meant to link to this, and maybe I'll do it after the show. But it says it's 8 hours. The Lex Friedman with Elon Musk interview that just came out. It isn't just Elon Musk on there. It includes the guy that got the first brain implant from Neuralink. Okay, and this guy, he's a young guy. He became paralyzed from below the shoulders, and now he's got this thing in his brain and it works. He can think thought. It's just you got to watch it. And one of the neurosurgeons they interview is just like, anyone who is against this, who is against Neuralink, is against humanity. Why would you want to hinder Elon Musk and this company? Why? But there are people that want to do this because they're envious. It's disgusting. The same reason they want to hinder cryptocurrency people from getting rich. The same reason they want to, they don't want Sam Altman to become the first trillionaire from AI. AI could extend all our lifespans. I know I keep saying this, but it'd be a real shame if, because of whatever administration's in charge, because of their regulations, that something is slowed down in AI by a year, and it prevents your mother from living 10 more years. If it just would have happened a year beforehand, they would have found the cure for something she had, and she would have been able to live for 10 more years. That's going to happen to some people. That's going to that's what regulation's about, dudes. It's disgusting. It's guilty until proven innocent, and it only hinders things. But you should watch that Lex Friedman video interview. Well, parts of it. It's 8 hours. You could jump around. He's got it marked real. The Elon part is good. The neurosurgeon part is good. And the guy who has this thing in his brain, after watching that, how can you be against Neuralink? And Drudge Report loves to say, "Oh, they experimented on monkeys." I'm like, who cares? This guy can live he's a young guy. He can live a happier life now. He's like, yeah, drill into my head. Do what you need to do. He would let him drill into his head again. He said it was no big deal. Drill into his brain or whatever. And it should be regulated, blah, 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 blah. And it already is highly regulated. It shouldn't have taken this long. All right, so $20 from Tune In, Drop Out. Dude, thank you, man. He says, Kamala has been told her opinion on, she hasn't been told her Bitcoin. No, she hasn't been told her opinion on Bitcoin yet, I think. Yeah, of course. Obviously she's told everything to think. Now, by the way, again, Trump, he was definitely influenced by a lot of people. He didn't understand everything he was saying. I'm not saying he understands everything, but he knows the guy's telling him, this is how wealthy people are going to get wealthier, and how regular people are going to have better lives. Do this. She hasn't been told yet, as you said. Yeah, she's a socialist. A CBDC is more in line with her worldview than Bitcoin. Yes, Yeah, of course she would go to a CBDC if she becomes president. Okay, and this goes to another question that I'm going to address a little later. Maybe I'll address it now. Thank you very much again for the $20, but I'll address it now. So people, I was saying in my last video, please watch the last video because a lot of you didn't because the algorithm didn't pick it up and I did it at a weird time. I had to do it twice. Oh my God, I go craziness with YouTube. But some people didn't understand the difference between a CBDC and a stable coin. Okay, so right now they're both, in theory, if we have a CBDC in the United States and Tether, they're both worth $1. All right. Okay, there's your similarity between a United States. They're both worth $1. All right, but then it differs greatly from there. Okay, now why would Kamala want to offer a CBDC? Well, it's a direct way to get payments to the people. And then once the people accept it, that's how they would get their reparations payments. Let's say she wants to do reparations, which it's possible. If she wins this time to get reelected, she'll start to say, in order to beat DeSantis in 2028, she'll be like, we're going to give reparations next term, vote for me. So, the way reparations would work would be, and it wouldn't have to be with CBDCs. You could do everyone all of a sudden has an account with the Federal Reserve. They have, $10,000 worth of CBDCs in it. They can spend it on certain things. They will be tracked. It can be turned off. It can be taken away. With Tether, it's not like that. You're not being given free Tether. You're not the CBDC will be given away. It will be given away at first. And it's just to get people hooked into a monitored system, and into a dependent system, into a welfare system. So, of course, she would want CBDC. It would make her much more powerful. And Bitcoin makes no leader more powerful at all, okay? It takes away, it separates money and state. So Trump will never say, okay, we're getting... Everyone can print their own money now. Bitcoin is no. He's not going to do that. He's going to let Bitcoin do what it's going to do, but he's not going to. That he'd even buy it for the treasury. I don't know if he's even going to really go that far or not. But it weakens the dollar. It's not. It weakens at least the power of the United States over its people, over everyone around the world. On the other hand, and I mentioned this last time. The stable coins, like whatever stable coin, I can't remember its name. I just said it. The stable coins, they strengthen the dollar because they buy treasuries to prop up their stable coin. It also everybody wants the dollar still. It's the best of all the fiats in the whole freaking world out there. So yeah, it's so he mentioned in his speech. I'm repeating what I said in the last video, but he not only likes Bitcoin, he likes stable coins. And that's fine. Stable that's a thrive. I have no problem. I have no problem with anybody printing their own money at all. I have no problem with that. I believe in complete separation of money and state. Trump will never. No leader will ever go there because it does weaken their power. They won't have. But Kamala definitely is so much more likely to go CBDC than Trump. But I wouldn't put it past Trump too if there was some disaster or something like that to just give in because it is a way. The CBDC also is a way to extend and pretend. Everyone says, how can the United States can get away with printing all this money? Well, doing it the traditional way, there's only so long they can do it, but that'll add such a new depth of technology and different things you can do with free money. The CBDC, well, you'll be able to give it. You'll be able to. And I mentioned this on a show a long time ago. Negative 10% interest rate loans for mortgages for people that deserve quote unquote deserve reparations. Like crazy stuff like that. Negative interest rate loans. For houses, so it'll help boost up the housing market. There's so many different things you can do with the CBDCs. So she can go that way. Maybe she'll go that way. Who knows? But again, thank you. We'll read your thing again there. Kamala hasn't been told her opinion on Bitcoin yet. She's a socialist, and yeah, I agree. A CBDC is more in line with her worldview than Bitcoin. Of course, everything. She really is a socialist. It's I mean that might be putting it mildly, but she is. But she's a power luster too. I mean that's the biggest thing. She will say anything. She will do anything. She has already done anything with Willie Brown. I mean, this is going to be in theory. Well, she should be president of the United States right now because Biden should be. If she was a true leader, she would 25th Amendment him right now. There's no reason Biden should be president now. He's totally senile. I've mentioned this on past shows, and obviously I don't like Kamala at all. But at least there would be accountability if something went wrong in the next 6 months or whatever until January, until the election. And something probably is going to go wrong in the next few months. I mean, there's a lot of big things going on around the world. All the leaders already know that the current leader of the United States is senile. He's weak, and that there's an election going on. So all sorts of crazy things might be happening very soon. And again, if a crazy thing happens, I mean, with the Trump thing in Pennsylvania, that was crazy, wasn't it? Once a crazy thing happens, the Bitcoin price will plummet temporarily, then it'll go back up again. I mean, it's just so continue to have your strong hand. Okay, we covered a lot of things there. We're 20 minutes in. We got to cover some of the rest of the things on this. By the way, I put this coconut oil in my hair by accident, like a lot of it. You guys know I do natural ways of washing my hair with baking soda, but I put a little bit of this coconut powder stuff in it usually. What's that called? MRT? What is that special type of? It's derived from coconut. I forgot what it's even called. I don't eat it, but I just put it in my hair. Anyway, I did coconut oil by accident, and it's like I have the freaking Jerry curl from the Coming to America movie. Pound that like, but seriously, it way too much got into my hair. It's really, coconut oil is good for your hair and everything, but it just, again, yesterday I had so much in it, I would like put my hand through it, and I would feel the grease on it. It literally was like Coming to America with the Jerry curl scene. I mean, it was like, oh my God. But it is healthy for your hair, whatever. All right. So let us continue with what we're supposed to talk about. That was a beyond Bitcoin moment there. All right. So we talked about the abortion. Oh yeah. Putin. How could I'm sorry. It took me 20 minutes to get to the Putin thing. All right. So we did. So Putin announced today that, the Bitcoin mining will be legal here. I linked to my tweet about it below, my retweet. I made a comment on the article. And here I said this. Remember when China used to randomly legalize Bitcoin, then make it illegal months later? This is a same arbitrary, impulsive vibe coming from this dictator. Sad to see so many in this space falling for it. So guys, yeah, it doesn't make that. And then another person commented, government-controlled mining is being legalized. Nothing more at this point. It's a Chinese model. Yes, it is. So for some random reason, he's letting Bitcoin mining to be legal in Russia now. Although I think you could do it now. Now you have to register with the government if you're a large entity, and obviously that part of that is so that he can confiscate it eventually. If he when he makes it illegal, then he can go after the people that already mined it and took their Bitcoin. Okay, it's exactly what China did before. They would make it legal, then they make it illegal, they would confiscate it, then they make it legal, then it'd be illegal. Then it's so arbitrary, it's so whimsical, it's so what dictators do, and some of it's for PR reasons. Sometimes it's like whatever they feel like. It's whimsical. They go on it's totally on a whim. They'll decide. But the funny thing is that so many Bitcoins are like, yeah, war. This is declaring war on the monetary system. But whatever. He knows if he actually let Bitcoin people freely, everybody get Bitcoin there in Russia, he'd be gone in a second. Okay, he needs to have financial control of. He's terrible. He sends them out to war. I mean, the way he does war is unbelievable. He's supposed to have all this magical technology, these laser weapons. It's cannon fodder. That's how he fights it. He fights it World War I style. Just keeps sending man after man after man, sacrificing all these young guys for what? For what? A piece of the Ukraine or something? This guy is crazy. And that Bitcoin people who supposedly like freedom, worship this guy. It's disgusting. But I mean, it's the same people who worship the terrorists in the Middle East and stuff. It's unbelievable. It's just the hatred of the West. They hate the United States so much. Anybody who's against the West, they're for Putin. They're for terrorists. I mean, it's unbelievable. But yeah, he'll change his mind eventually, guys. And but people are getting excited, like, oh, this is so big for Bitcoin. It's not big for Bitcoin, okay? I mean, you could say if you look back to like something like 2014, that a pretty big country, mentions Bitcoin. That's pretty cool, but it's not 2014 anymore, okay, dude? We went through the whole China thing. Russia is obviously China's B. So China has done all this before. So now their B does it too. Now their B does it too. Okay. Now they're okay, I'm not going to say that. Maybe some of you can guess what I was going to say. I was going to tie it in the Willie Brown a little bit. But anyway, all right. So guys, don't go too crazy on this. It might not last that long. Yeah. So. Whatever. But if you hate the United States, everybody wants to move here. We've got, again, Google is more powerful than Russia. Russia's got the nukes and everything, but other than the nukes, Google's more powerful than Russia. It is, and so is Facebook. So is all these companies. And they are just creations of the free market and the creativity and the innovation in the United States of America. Meanwhile, you have Russians who they hate it so much there. And I've talked about this before. When I've been in Israel, there's like a Russian mafia there. But they're not Jewish. They're just guys that pretended that one of their great grandfathers was Jewish or something, or maybe one of their great grandfathers was Jewish, so they could get out of cold, disgusting Russia, and they live with Jews in Israel and they don't even like Jews. But they want to be in a free place that's productive. That was the only way they could get out of Russia was pretend that one of their great grandparents was or maybe one of their grandparents, whatever. You can move. Israel can give you citizenship if you say one of your grandparents is Russian, grandparents is Jewish. But I'm sure there's ways of saying, well, my grandfather wasn't Jewish, but I think his mother was Jewish or something. I mean, you could tell these people that got in. Anyway, you walk around Tel Aviv on a Saturday, and you can tell who I'm talking. The dudes driving the cabs and stuff. I mean, nothing that's wrong with them, whatever. So again, that goes against also the thing that Israel is so restrictive in who they let into their country. I mean, none of you have ever. So many of you have not been to Tel Aviv before, where you literally. We were talking about Jerry curl beforehand. When you get off the bus station, and I mentioned this before. When you got off the bus station in Tel Aviv, and you're walking on the streets, you see African wig shops, like you're near Lexington Market in freaking Baltimore City. Pound that like button. Okay, you got illegal alien Sudanese that run and Eritreans running all over Tel Aviv there. But supposedly, Israel is an apartheid state. Yeah. Again, if you walked for 2 seconds on the streets of Tel Aviv, you would think quite differently when you see the African wig shops. And no, they're not for Ethiopians. They're for Sudanese and Eritreans who are just somehow magically got into Israel illegally. All right, so and are allowed to stay, and sometimes Eritreans had riots there and stuff, whatever. So what would happen in China if Eritreans had riots? What would happen? You tell me. All right, so I went on a bit of a tangent there, but again, the Western world is the free world. They call it the rules-based order. It really, what the rules are is like. In these Western countries, you can there's freedom of speech and stuff. There's not some dictator who's going to shut you down and throw you in jail and stuff. You can't say that about China or Russia, okay? And people just forget these basic things. Like, why would you? And again, it goes back to the BRICS. There are quite a few in the BRICS that are like that. That are they're just totally you say something about the leader, you're in big trouble, man. You're in real big trouble. We can go on and on. Twitter banned Trump beforehand. That just shows how much freedom we have in this country. That a private company can just ban the president of the United States. That would not be allowed in these other countries. Those companies would be shut down, and that's true freedom there. And you could be offended by certain freedoms. I mean, that people can dress up like women when they're men, but that's part of living in a free society. And okay, yeah, there's certain things that are disgusting out there, but we can call them out as disgusting still. And that is sad that in some countries, like in England or in Ireland and maybe in Canada, like if you find something disgusting, if you say it's disgusting, it's a hate crime now. So they're going in the direction of China. I guess they were inspired by the virus, authoritarian type of stuff. And it is kind of scary how many women out there like this authoritarian type of stuff, and want Kamala to be random and get back at the men and get back at the we and I mentioned women because we've never had authoritarian women leaders before, but they're starting to pop up, like Jacinta in New Zealand. That was pretty crazy when that was going on. I mean, we saw what could happen, and authoritarian women, authoritarian men, but both horrible. But we never. I just remember Jordan Peterson saying we never had seen. I think he said this like in 2018 that what is like an authoritarian female leader like? Well, I think we've started to see actually, and I did want to mention. Well, first of all, we were real quick thing about Ethereum here, because I said I would talk about Ethereum. Ethereum is both Bitcoin and everything went down the other day because of Japanese rate cut. And I'm going to mention the Japanese rate cut in a second, because Rick Jackson, the dude who I am very intrigued by, who was on a show recently of mine, he's in Oklahoma City. He mentioned how if the United States had a 0.25 rate cut, Japan had a rate hike. If we have a rate cut, which we will get soon, that Bitcoin will go up 25% from its all-time high. And we're going to get to, I'm leaving you in suspense because we're going to talk about the Japanese version of that in a second. Something that he tweeted out. It's already linked to below if you want to see it. But Ethereum went down quite a bit along with Bitcoin, more so than Bitcoin. And the funny thing is like in the summer of 2020, which is the 4-year correspondence to this exact date, basically this exact 4 years ago, Ethereum did the same thing. It was only worth less than 3% of the Bitcoin. Now it's gone to be less than 5% of the Bitcoin. What ended up happening, guys? I mean, it's not dead. And for the people that say it's dead, and that also brings me to the point, like some of the people that like to say Bitcoin, Ethereum is dead, it's like Bitcoin has become a religion to them. Don't let Bitcoin become a religion to you, okay? Where you have to be part of an inquisition that destroys other religions and stuff. I mean, don't let it be. You become fanatical. You start saying just insane things about Ethereum, insane things about certain leaders, overreacting when Putin says something good about Bitcoin, overreacting when El Salvador said, El Salvador has said good things about Bitcoin. They've done some good things about Bitcoin. And then their leader, he casually says, well, these companies are charging too much for food. It'd be a shame if, we would have to use government force on them. He said it in a different way. But I mean, he's talking about price controls type of stuff. And that is the opposite of separation of money and state. So I am not a big fan of the El Salvador dude at all, especially because the people he keeps around him as advisors. That one psychotic he keeps around him, that real hater. I think you call him Max Kaiser. He's like hater. He just, always about the banksters, whoever the banksters are. Again, it's pretty obviously who he means some of the times by the banksters, because Max Kaiser worked for Iranian state TV, a terrorist entity. He sympathizes with terrorists in Iran. Yeah, he likes them. He's also very excited about Putin making his announcement of Bitcoin. But this psychotic man, Max Kaiser, this hater of the banksters, haters of the banksters. Yeah. Anyway, or people that do that, haters of them. It's such a code word. He's a big advisor to the guy in El Salvador. Real good. And then the Bitcoin in El Salvador is like, it's like, who's in charge of it? Max Kaiser is, or the dictator is when he's on his toilet. I mean, it's insane how they keep the Bitcoin. I mean, they literally could lose the Bitcoin. It's so unprofessional. But whatever. Back in 2021 at the Bitcoin conference, this is a good segue. So yeah, Ethereum's not dead, dudes. And don't let Bitcoin be your religion, because it really blinds you to a lot of things. And you shouldn't let whatever your religion is get too much into your secular life. You shouldn't let your religion kind of dictate your financial stuff. Don't go to your priest or your rabbi for Bitcoin advice. It's not this. Don't. You wouldn't do that. Who would do that? So there's separation of religion and money. Good idea. Real good idea. Just like this. So, but talking about 2021 being at the Bitcoin conference in Miami, and it was good when we found that El Salvador was that was a good thing for Bitcoin. That was a next step for Bitcoin. That a country, although a small country, although a country ruled by this whimsical guy, decided that they were going to make Bitcoin legal tender. Someone had to do it first. So I give them credit for that. But it's so funny. Back then, I was just thinking. When you would walk around that conference, there were, again, 2021 people were still wearing masks. They were still very, we've all forgotten this now. I haven't forgotten it. People were still crazy about the virus. But the people who came to this conference, most people were not wearing masks. It was great. Of course, I was not. Of course not. Please. The only time I wear a mask was someone would force me to do it. It was so ridiculous. If I had to go on a plane or whatever. But I specifically remember being in the media area, and you could immediately tell who was from the mainstream media. These people were wearing masks, and they literally had like the look of shock in their eyes. Like, how can all these people not be wearing masks? Like, they were scared. They were really scared. They're such losers, young, healthy people who are mainstream media. And these are the people who write stories. So, of course, they wrote a story about the Bitcoin conference. Instead of covering, the Bitcoin stuff, they called it like a super spreader event. Do you guys remember this? Because I know a lot of you don't remember this. They called the Bitcoin Miami 2021 event a super spreader event. Like, we look back now and we laugh. Did people die because of it? Did people? No, nothing. It was such cool. But people were tweeting out like, "Oh yeah, I know all these people who got the virus," and just people playing into all this nonsense with the media. Now, the thing, and another reason I bring this up is it's a lovely memory, and it affected my life. I've told this story before, because it just shows you the influence the mainstream media has on people. And for those of you who think, oh no, people aren't going to care about abortion. No, the mainstream media knows to keep on mentioning it over and over and over again, but that they want the people who are more likely to put us into that state of mask wearing again. This vice president guy from Minnesota was just like the woman in Minnesota, governor of Michigan. How he had a snitch line and everything like that. The mainstream media people are such little wimps. And there's a big population that just want the government to take care of them. They're scared of everything. And it just in the mainstream media. So now the mainstream media, they write about Bitcoin. It's usually in a hateful way, of course. And don't believe a word they say because there's no praxis on their part. I brought this up last time. To understand Bitcoin, praxis is a very important thing. Now, that's like a Marxist term or whatever. Because they not only do you have to preach the philosophy of Marxism, but you have to really take away people's private property. Let's take away from the entrepreneurs. Literally, let's burn down their places of employment, the places they own. Let's burn. That's praxis. That is praxis. That is getting rid of private property. That is praxis. When you have a riot and you burn down people's private property. That is the practice of abolition of private property. So they're the praxis. But Bitcoin is, to fully understand Bitcoin, you've got to have some praxis. You've had to have been able to send some Bitcoin. And most of these reporters have never attempted it. Because once you sent a little bit of Bitcoin, and not just on Coinbase, like from one Coinbase to another, but actually, copied and pasted the whole long address in and everything like that. There's this feeling of accomplishment, and you've really done something. You've really, and I've told all of you that have kids, teach your kids how to do this. I want to teach my nieces and nephews how to do this thing. Because it's a great skill to have. But so many people complain and hate about Bitcoin, but they've never actually used it. There's been no praxis. I seriously doubt Elizabeth Warren ever sent any Bitcoin, or any of these politicians, even the good ones who have good opinions on it. Some of them have just jumped into it because they want to get votes. I mean, some of these swing or semi-swing state people, like there's a guy in North Carolina. He's a Democrat. I think he's partially interested in it because of the technology triangle that's there, and partially because he wants to get some. He can't win his district without getting some business owners, people who want are interested in technology, type of thing. So these reporters that I think of back in the day at the Bitcoin conference from the mainstream, I seriously doubt most of them, any of them, had sent a Bitcoin at that point or at this. And I don't mean a whole Bitcoin because that's a lot of money. But you could do a little bit or send a Litecoin or something. Same thing when you're talking about learning how to send. You send a Litecoin the same way you send the Bitcoin. Now, what happened to me personally because of them saying that lie? And they were calling everything they hated, anything that was the Sturgis bike rally. They called because they didn't like the governor of South Dakota. They called that a super spreader event. I mean, it was such just a way to just vilify people who weren't wearing masks outside. Because a lot of that Bitcoin conference was outside, by the way, people. It was a different location. Than the 2023 and 2022. 2021 was not at Miami Beach. It was actually in Miami. And a lot of it was outside. It was very hot. But so what happened? As many of you know, my grandmother had passed away in September of 2020, of blessed memory. So in 2021, in the summer of 2021, we're going to have her gravestone unveiled. So I was going to come back to Baltimore and we're going to have the Jewish people have an unveiling of the gravestone, a little ceremony and everything like that. It was going to be very nice. I was going to stay with my family. And so after, they knew I was at the Bitcoin conference, and it was national news that the Bitcoin conference was a super spreader event. So of course, Adam's family members, I'm not going to say, which ones, they were buying into this stuff at the time. Everybody knows the way I think. And sure, not all family members, they basically, they all have the same intelligence level as I do. These are very close relatives of mine. So they're going to basically have the same IQ as me, I would assume. I know that one of them, you've seen, got to a better university, went to an Ivy League college. So he's smarter than me. But no, they were buying into this. And there was this, to make a long story short, I had to stay at my grandmother's condo. Now, because my grandmother was gone, but I mean, it was like stepping back into September of 2020. I had to, instead of staying with various family members, I had to stay alone in this condo in order to attend my own grandmother's unveiling. And we all went to the unveiling. It was fine. It was fine and everything. But it was just like this. They became worried because of super spread. The word super spreader. Now I think everybody learned their lesson eventually, but it's just like the media can be very influential. For those of you who think that, Trump's going to win, he's definitely going to win. No, people now, I'm not making any political commentary about my family, but maybe I make a little bit of good. Most of them, again, you don't know how many siblings I have or whatever, so I'm not going to, but most of them, you all know that I have at least a brother and a sister, but that most of them are not there. More on my side of the spectrum. They don't have TDS. They do not have TDS. Now there is someone in my family that does have TDS. So I mean, it can happen. It can happen to anyone. I mean, and then I've got other, as you go further away, first cousins, second cousins. Oh my God, it's horrible. I mean, again, and these people are still, they're all Jewish too and stuff. And they'll still vote for Biden. It's unbelievable. Nothing can convince them to vote for Trump, or and they have to. It's just like, it's really, all of you who think like that. I've mentioned this before, that Jewish people are super smart, or everything's super successful. They're very in their politics. They still can't. This time around it's going to be a little bit different. But no, some of them just blindly vote for Democrat because their reason is because their mother did or their father did. Back when I was going to Washington University in St. Louis, one of the best universities in the United States, I got in there. I suppose he was smart. A Gentile asked me, why are you going to vote for the Democrats? Why do you always vote for the Democrats? The only thing I could say is because my parents do. That was my answer. That's how smart I was then. Thank God I've I'm proud to say that I actually used my intelligence and started thinking after that, and actually started like integrating life. Most people don't integrate what they see into their life. They're very compartmentalized. There's things they have to do. I thought, that's what you have to do. You're this East Coast secular Jew. Of course, you must vote for the Democrats always. Why? Oh, because my parents did. And it's so mindless. It's so mindless. So it's just we can be very mindless. There's no don't make generalizations about judge each Jewish person on what they believe, because a lot of the secular ones out there now are just, wow, do they believe some nonsense? It's very sad. All right, went on a little bit of a tangent there. And as you can also see, I don't blindly defend somebody just because they have the same religion as me. And I know that I live in a free country. I can criticize people of the same religion as me. Now, it's kind of funny. In some of these Middle Eastern countries, it's so funny how 99% of the people all support the theocratic leader. And there's no one speaking out against the theocratic leader. No one at all. I wonder why that is. Why is that? There's a couple of reasons. I mean, they're not thinking. They know that they will be killed if they do. I mean, it's unbelievable. So for those who don't understand the difference between evil nations and free nations, there's a difference. Now, there's obviously some of these free nations, there's some bad people, but there's some of the ways these nations are set up are pure evil, and they do pure evil things. And then they say they're the victim, and then they're like, "Well, why'd you hit me back?" When an evil person does something to you, you hit them back, you destroy them, so they won't do it again. And most Western countries have learned that, haven't done that for years and years, because they're just trying to be so altruistic and everything. It's disgusting. Okay, now, what do we? Oh yeah, so finally we'll conclude with. I'll save some of these things for another day. There's some funny things. I want to. We're going to conclude with Rick and the Japanese explanation. All right, and I'm glad. Oh yeah, I will link to. When the video is over, I will link to the. I forgot to put this in there. The link to the Lex 8-hour interview with Elon about Neuralink and everything like that. I've got the URL here. I got to put it in right after this. Sorry for you watching live. So Rick Jackson, and I retweeted this. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt. He said, "Let's assume, for the sake of argument, that Monday's crash was all effects from Japan's rate increase. Obviously, a big assumption. A 0.25 rate relative to the United States change resulted in a 25% drop in the Bitcoin price. So the 25% per 0.25 feels more confirmed. So, I mean, it's kind of he said, since it's maybe because the rate hike of 0.25 in Japan caused Bitcoin to go down by 25%, that leads one more to believe that if the United States were to cut rates by 0.25, that would lead to a 25% over the all-time high jump. So ending up at 88,000. So, I mean, it's a little bit of a stretch, but there's a psychology of money that's out there. So if a 0.25 hike caused a 25% drop, and it was very temporary, and from Japan, and so Japan's weaker than the United States, so that's why it was temporary. I mean, you can add that. He didn't say that a 25% cut from the United States will go by. Again, this is Rick. I want to see if this comes true. I'm hoping it comes true, as you can tell, that when in September, if there's a 25% rate cut, a 0.25 rate cut, that Bitcoin's going to eventually end up at 88,000 soon after. It's not going to be a day after or a week after. It might be a month later. That'll be. It's all part of the. We're in the bull market here. We're going to get to the all-time high. Bitcoin always returns to its all-time high, but we're getting to that territory where it usually happens. We had it happen way too early this year. It happened in February or March. It usually would happen in November, December, or January. So we'll see if Rick is right, if there's going to be a rate cut in the United States, if it'll be 0.25. Again, if he says it's 0.5, then it'll be 50%. So it's going to be like 118,000 or something. So we'll see. Let's see. Again, I'm hoping it. I think there's a lot of logic. He He has all these charts and everything. So this is not just hearsay. This is, he's got some logic and reason and study behind it. And he thinks what just happened in Japan. And there were a lot of ifs with that tweet. Yeah, I'll add that tweet. I don't think I linked to that tweet yet. So I'll do that afterwards. Also, oh yeah, I did want to say one more thing. Altcoin flavor of the month. I don't say that as much anymore. There's some altcoins that obviously, the top 10 has changed so much through the years. A lot of you might not remember that Steem was once in the top 10. I think it got up to 3 or 4 or something like that. And, the idea was okay. It was no one has mastered social media and cryptocurrency yet, but they tried to, and it was really big. And there was a guy who used to watch this channel, and he would comment a lot. And I would post, there was no harm in posting your videos to Steem because you would get this free Steem, and then you would sell it for Bitcoin. It was great. It was actually great. And he was very popular on Steem. This guy, he made a lot. He bought a lot of Steem when it was early, and then it went up a lot. He actually bought Steem, which was insane to do. And I remember he had $1 million worth of Steem in his account. You could see he had $1 million worth of Steem. I said, dude, you got to turn this to Bitcoin. I haven't heard from the guy in years now, so he didn't do it. And there were other people like him. I mean, that was a true altcoin flavor of the month. So there's your veteran flashback there. That was from 2016, 2017 type of stuff. I mean, he might have had $1 million worth of Steem. I mean, even after that, because it was still worth something. I think it had another pump at one point. I don't know the whole. It's just most of you guys who are watching this now don't even know what Steem is. That it was a cryptocurrency social media platform. But to all you newbies, there was a dude who used to watch this channel, used to comment on it, and I told him you should sell this dude for some Bitcoin, and he had $1 million worth of Steem. And there's also a guy who was involved in all sorts of scams. Named, what was his name? Was his name Craig or Greg? He was a black guy in Florida. What was his name? He was online friends with the black guy from South Carolina, who I can't remember the name of now, who did get in trouble. He got in trouble too for the they moved on to BitConnect from Steemit and stuff. But the guy in Florida was much more into Steem than the guy from South Carolina, the young guy from South Carolina. I'm sorry, I'm forgetting his name. That I can only say that. What were those guys' names? Oh my god, it's been a while. All right, dudes. I've seen them come and go, man. I've seen all the altcoin flavors of the month come and go, and but that's also why I can also say that Ethereum it has proved the test of time. It's stuck around through quite a few cycles now. People want yield. I don't need to go through it all again. All right, let's see what we have here. Any more questions? Someone says, you never sell what others get for free. Legendary insights. You never buy. You never buy what you can get for free. Never buy what you get for free. So that's you never buy is what you meant. I know what you meant there. That people would buy Steem was insane to me because I would get it for free. I never buy what you can get for free. And some of these they were giving away all sorts of things back in the day. Okay. But with the Bcash, we got all this Bcash for free and then there were people buying Bcash. And I think maybe that's when I came up with the thing, never buy what you can get for free. Never. And there'll be other giveaways too. And people start buying it. It's unbelievable. These airdrops and stuff, people start buying. People, it's just that they're maniacs. They have no financial logic at all. Hang on, there was something else that I wanted to see. I'm just going to see if there were any more good comments there. Okay, I'm Adam Meister. Pound that like button, everybody. I'm Adam Meister. I can't believe I couldn't remember the name of Tether before. I hope I didn't call it Trezor by accident. Yes, Tether is whatever. I have no problem with Tether. With the stable coins. I said it before, I'll say it again. Bitcoin is not my religion. I have no problem with stable. So many people, they hear stable coins like, oh, you're a trader or whatever. And rewind the video if you want to know the difference between stable coins and CBDCs. One simple thing to remember is that the stablecoins are private entities, and CBDCs are national, okay, are public national countries, okay, not good, are totally controlling mechanisms. So, all right, I'm Adam Meister, Bitcoin Meister, Disrupt Meister. Subscribe to the channel. Follow me on Twitter at TechBalt. I'll put the 2 links that I forgot to put, and you'll get some more new shows from me very soon. Pound that like button. I will see you. I did this under an hour. Very good. Salt Lake City is awesome. Bye-bye.